this season at Level Up Stronger, we're speaking with women across the globe who have found careers in male-dominated trades industries. It's often hard for many women to see themselves in these male-dominated careers, but there are a whole lot of amazing and talented women who are not only working in trades, but thriving. So we explore how they got there, what it's like now, and get their advice on how to get started. In today's podcast, we meet LINDSAY DAVIS, a journeyman mechanical insulator who has 7 women working on her team. Like so many women, LINDSAY knew that she had to find a way to provide for her kids. And after a chance encounter with a women in trades group at a career fair, LINDSAY began her journey into the career that will undoubtedly support her for a lifetime. She and so many other women in her field are finding ways to level up stronger. Welcome, LINDSAY, to the show. Let's jump right in. So, LINDSAY, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do for a living?
I am a journeyman mechanical insulator. It's not like the insulation that you put in your house in the wall. It's mechanical. So any ductwork, plumbing, those kind of things I personally work on commercial projects, not residential. We do have an industrial division that does like the big plants.
So this would be all of the piping and things like that that run through the building, a lot of which hold cold or hot water. And so they have to be insulated so as not to have the loss of heat or cooling on the long runs, which is awesome. So within that, then you probably run into, are you only doing new construction or do you also retrofit old?
No, we do a lot of right now I have a lot of projects downtown. Those are a lot of historical property. So there is a lot more care goes into those projects too, because they're trying to maintain the original building components, right?
Absolutely.
So they're not trying to wreck walls or big marble slabs. And
sure. Yeah, making too many changes. Do you run into asbestos then as well with for anybody who may be listening who doesn't know, a lot of the older buildings, the pipes were actually wrapped with asbestos wrap around the pipes. And so do you run into having to abate that, or is that already done before you get there?
The company I work for doesn't do abatement, but yeah, a lot of those old buildings, we have a couple of government buildings downtown too. Yeah, they're old and we're insulated with asbestos. So a lot of projects get kind of put on hold until those things get abated and removed.
So what are some of the challenges that you as a woman have faced going into that industry? I'm assuming you're probably one of none as far as women are concerned in your team. Are there other women?
So surprisingly, I currently have 22 field installers and 7 of them are women.
Awesome. A much better percentage than all of the other industries that I've looked at. Is that unique to your shop, or do you see that like across the board in most of the...
So here in Alberta, so the program I took when I got into the trades, in Alberta, they have a women building trades. So it's a program. My course was 10 weeks. They have Journey Women Start programs. That's 15 weeks. And that's like an introductory course for women for all trades, like plumbing, electrical. So they kind of give a rundown. And then at the end of their 15 weeks, they can decide what trade they like the most out of all that. For that program, I took the Insulator Readiness Program, 10-week course. It was sponsored by our local union and one of the refineries here. Okay. So I did specifically insulation, but they have equipment operators, warehouse. They have a variety of trade courses that are just for women.
What made you really like insulation? What was it that out of all the trades, because you went and looked at all, what was it that drew you to insulation?
Growing up, I was always a tomboy and like that kind of stuff, and all that hands-on learning I loved. I took all the trade courses in high school, and then when I moved out here, I tried to get in, failed, did some office work for a while, then had another kid, so that delayed some time, and just went back to a job that I ended up getting laid off 5 months after my mat leave. I went back to a job for 5 months and I got laid off. Felt like shit because what am I going to do? I got 2 kids now, no job. So actually a couple days after I got laid off, I went to a career fair where I found that women building trade.
That's awesome.
They were offering the readiness program. They were looking for 10 women to apply for the course. And I kind of just, I guess, was one door closes, another opens. Fate stepped in, and it was fully sponsored, the whole program. So there was no tuition, anything. So I'm like,
They
great.
covered the cost.
I don't have the money for this right now. Or
Awesome.
to take one of their other programs. So fate stepped in.
Yeah, I think that's what the big thing right now is, especially because there is such a need that I think that a lot of the trades programs have realized that women are missing in the trades. And so more than ever before in history, it's a prime opportunity for ladies to get their foot in the door, have all of their schooling paid, or at least the majority of it paid. And then you jump right into what is a decent career. And so that is phenomenal. So you don't have to go to college and spend thousands and thousands of dollars that you're going to end up paying for the next 20 years. You can get your foot in the door and actually make a really decent salary. Now, are you union or are you at a non-union shop?
I was union. Then they had no commercial projects to stay in and around the city. So I went to a non-union company. So I'm still with the union, but I'm considered like salting with them.
Okay. And so do you find there's a difference between union and non-union? Which do you prefer? Just out of curiosity.
Well, because like here in this city, there's only 3 union contractors. So it's very limited on availability for work. So that's kind of why I had necessarily jumped ship, I guess.
Sure.
And it was about feeding my kids and family and having a job, right? So
Yeah.
both of them have their pros and cons on, good and bad.
Do you mind me asking what's the starting salary range for somebody in your field and what's the upward potential?
So a first year apprentice is in commercial. So there's kind of like different wages. Commercial, $16 an hour.
Okay.
If you worked industrial as a first year, $21 an hour. So there is kind of a big jump in pay. Journeyman commercial, $33 an hour.
So that's almost double, right? Yeah.
And then I'm not sure what a journeyman rate industrial is. Sometimes it depends on the project, the contract.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, roughly $40 an hour.
Okay. But you're going and working for a company that you probably have decent benefits though, then too, because whether it's union or not, then you have benefits on top of that, right? Yeah. So that's having access to decent healthcare and all of that stuff is vitally important, I think, to mention also, whether it's union or non-union, there's a lot of additional opportunities for training generally. So do you see yourself staying in insulation or are you going to expand out from there?
I do have a background in safety as well, and I'm currently working on my occupational health and safety certification. So I'm balancing the two at the moment because, I want something to fall back on.
Absolutely. No, I think that would be a great opportunity for you. For anybody who's listening who doesn't quite know how all of that kind of correlates. So every shop has to have somebody who manages the safety, especially in a commercial or industrial setting. You have a safety supervisor generally who manages all of the activity hazard analysis, the safety plans, ensures everybody has the proper PPE, which is personal protective equipment, files the OSHA reports if somebody gets hurt and all of that. And you can make some pretty good money as a safety professional and a safety trainer even. And so that's definitely, I think, a good transition career. And most of those are courses that you can take online, right? I assume in Canada, it's the same as here in the US, where you can take those to become an OSHA, what's it called? OSHA 501 or something like that trainer? Or do you guys have the same thing there?
Yeah, it depends on the role and
sure.
There's, safety directors, safety managers, regional, like.
Absolutely. Yeah, it goes on up from there. And then especially if you're in a bigger company, you could make, depending on how far you go up that ladder, you could make 6 figures by the time it's all said and done, right? And so that's a phenomenal pathway to be on, to like work your way up out of just doing the day-to-day field work. So that's a phenomenal, I think, transition for any woman who's considering going into trades. It often helps for you to learn the basics of whatever the trade is. And then you could transition into a safety position or supervisory position within that into a safety position and then make even more money that way. And it also helps because then you have the basic knowledge or understanding of what the job is and what it entails and where the safety pitfalls are. So no, I think that's Have you experienced, some of the ladies that I talked to, most of them, I would say that I've talked to in the podcast have had pretty good experiences with the men that they've worked with. One of the biggest, I guess, fears that most women have going into the trades is that there's the gender bias, there's lots of discrimination and all of that. What we're finding is there's more and more companies, especially right now, are very cognizant on providing better cultures in their company. What has your experience been like in your industry and working with men and the culture surrounding the gender bias?
When I was an apprentice, I did have a plumber that he kind of made those snarky remarks. And he actually had an apprentice on his crew that was a woman too, that women don't belong in the trades, and very old school thinking. And me as an apprentice, I think I did so well on that project that he changed his mind, I think, about me and maybe the woman on his crew. And because the journeyman that I had at the time kind of would disappear and not put in an effort. And so I was kind of left to pick up the pace. And I was first year apprentice, I wanted to prove myself too, but I can do it and I can keep up and get this stuff done. Over the years, a couple other projects I did with that gentleman, he completely changed his mind about me and maybe other women.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you were able to get in there and prove him wrong, essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And because I think sometimes that gender bias seems to be so ingrained within society that you often run into people who won't even consider that there might be another option and that women can, in fact, do and are, in fact, strong enough to do the work as well. So, and sometimes it pays to have a woman because often they're smaller, slightly smaller in stature and can get into those tight places. Right. So that's often helpful.
Right now, I have a crew of 4 women on one project, and we had somebody there before that I guess fell behind on the project, and he moved on, and we put 4 women there, and the head plumber there, and the HVAC guy has told me many times, he's like, "This is great. These women are great. They're keeping up. When we have a last minute emergency, can you do this before they drywall a wall or get out of that spot? They're on top of it and they're catching up, and we're so proud." And he's mentioned it to his project managers and his upper management.
Good. That's awesome. So you're changing opinions at least one man at a time.
And I told him, well, you have to realize, a lot of women that are in the trades, they have kids, they have families. Some of them, a lot of them are single parents, so they have bills. There's no missing time unless they absolutely have to.
Oh, absolutely. I found that quite a few of the ladies I've interviewed thus far, they're all moms, with the exception of maybe one. And definitely I got that same consensus across the board that, hey, I need to be able to provide for my family. So I'm going to go out here and do whatever's necessary to make that happen. And I think that's the societal resilience that's been built into our own gender, right? And nobody gets to tell us that we can't do something because ultimately we need to provide for our families, right? So that's exciting. So if somebody wanted to go into your trade, what would be your suggestion on what path they should take?
Definitely research. Every province, state, country has different lengths of apprenticeship, I think, for some trades. It used to be a 4-year program, then it went to 3, then back to 4, now it's 3, and it's supposed to go back to 4. They keep kind of changing the length, but definitely research. Insulating to me is kind of like arts and crafts.
Absolutely.
Put it on, you got to make some tee things in and make adjustments to PVC elbows and fittings, and there's canvas, so it's kind of like paper mache.
Very much so. Very much so. What would you say is the mindset that women need to have? In order to be successful, I think so much of this is mindset driven. In order for women to be successful in your industry, what's the mindset they should come with?
For me, it was, I can do this just as much as the other person. It might take a little longer or struggle a little bit. Practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of metaling work. Commercially, you don't do a whole lot of metal work. That's more industrial stuff. I don't claim to fame that I have superior skills or ability to do it, and I'll admit it. And I tell a lot of my coworkers, like, if you don't know how to do it, just admit it. I'd rather we did a nice professional job and I can get you somebody that knows how to do it and you can work with them.
Yeah, be willing and open to learn a new skill.
Get that practice. Like I said, I'm a journeyman and I don't claim that I know how to do it all.
Sure. So a little humility goes a long way then, as far as that's concerned too. And I always tell all of my team, like, I make mistakes all the time. But I think if you don't know how to do something, you make a mistake, just own up to it and let's figure it out how to fix it together. Let's come with some solutions for how we're going to address it or what additional training's needed to make you more successful, essentially. So yeah, I think that's great advice in general for everything. Well, I wish you luck on your trajectory to become a safety supervisor. I think that would be awesome. Let us know how you progress on that, because I think that's pretty cool that you're tiptoeing into that realm. It's huge. We are constantly talking about safety, and we have an entire safety committee at every project. It's a constant cultural norm to be very safety focused. For anybody who doesn't know, we work on contract basis, and a lot of times they pull your safety record, your safety rating. So every company gets a safety rating. And if your safety rating is terrible, that equals no work for you. So yeah, that's vitally important for companies to be paying attention to that. So I think that's a phenomenal route to take to work your way up beyond where you're at now. Any last words or anything else you want to tell the women out there who are considering insulation as a career?
My opinion is just don't think you can't do it. Like I said, I have 7 ladies right now, and they're all dedicated and put in their 40 hours. And like with my company, we're extremely flexible when it comes to family. Like family
Sure.
comes first. So they're always apologizing for, sorry, my kid's sick. I got to take a day off.
Yeah, it happens. And I think more and more companies are seeing that in order to make sure that your employees are taking care of you and your company, you have to take care of your employees. That comes with the territory. And people do have lives outside of work. And so it's vital to balance that and help them balance that. And I think it's good business. It's good business as a company to take that into consideration, especially in the trades when we already have a shortage of people.
Yeah, and to me, if people are happy, they're excited to come to work every day. They help us and we help them.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
The really great benefit to trades industries is the opportunities and the advancement possible. Many people go into the trades and work their way up to 6-figure careers or find adjacent paths like project management, supervisory roles, and even safety managers. Amazing women like Lindsay are not letting their gender or those around them keep them from leveling up stronger in life. Find a program, explore your options, keep an open mind, and put in the work. Those are the keys to success for women looking to see if trades careers are the right fit. And there are women like Lindsay who are showing us that you can be successful. Reach out to a sister in trades and ask their advice. Every one of the women that we have interviewed this season bravely stepped into a new career that society tells us is not the right fit. But they've made a phenomenal niche for themselves, and the trades are better for the diversity that they bring. These amazing women and so many more are mentors and sisters at arms who are willing and capable to lend a helping hand. At Level Up Stronger, we're striving to help women improve their lives, provide for their families, and build a lasting career. And what a better place than in the trades where women can be recognized for their amazing talents, their complete rock star capabilities, and their extreme courage. We encourage all women to consider these industries, talk to women in the field like Lindsay, and get their perspective on how rewarding this experience has been. This has been another episode of Level Up Stronger. Join us next time for more women in trades and discover how you too can level up stronger in your life. Thank you for joining us on Level Up Stronger. For references to resources mentioned in this episode and to receive updates on future podcasts, check us out on social media or at levelupstronger.com. And remember, each time we take risk, educate ourselves, and apply what we've learned to our lives, we level up stronger. Each time we level up stronger, we have the opportunity to reach back and contribute to someone else's success too.